Imagine a world where the US dollar isn't the uncontested king of global trade. For decades, the greenback has reigned supreme, controlling trade flows, setting the global financial agenda, and serving as the cornerstone of economic power. But change is in the air. A trend known as de-dollarization is quietly but steadily reshaping global finance. While this movement has been largely associated with BRICS nations like China and Russia, a surprising player has entered the game: France. Yes, a Western ally of the United States is now taking calculated steps toward reducing its reliance on the dollar. This isn't just a financial story, it's a geopolitical chess move with implications for the entire world. Stay with us as we unravel how France's actions are influencing the global shift toward de-dollarization and what it means for the future of international trade. If you are enjoying this deep dive into the evolving financial landscape, don't forget to like and share this video. Your support helps us create more engaging content for you and other curious minds. Before diving into France's role, let's clarify what de-dollarization means. It refers to the strategic effort by nations to reduce their dependency on the US dollar in trade, finance, and foreign reserves. Why does it matter? Because the dollar isn't just a currency, it's a tool of influence. The United States has long used its currency dominance to enforce sanctions, control trade flows, and exert power over global markets. For emerging economies like those in BRICS, de-dollarization represents an opportunity to assert financial sovereignty and reduce risks tied to US monetary policies. However, the trend is no longer confined to these nations. Even Western countries traditionally aligned with the US are starting to explore alternatives, and that's where France enters the picture. In March 2023, French energy giant TotalEnergies made headlines by executing its first LNG transaction with China in yuan, bypassing the dollar entirely. This deal, conducted via the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange, involved 65,000 tons of LNG imported from the United Arab Emirates. It wasn't just a trade transaction, it was a bold statement. By choosing the yuan, TotalEnergies sent a clear signal that Western companies are willing to embrace alternative currencies when the conditions are favorable. This wasn't an isolated event. In October 2023, French utility company Engie followed suit, completing another yuan-dominated LNG trade with China. France's pivot isn't limited to energy deals. During a state visit to China in April 2023, French President Emmanuel Macron witnessed the signing of a landmark agreement between French shipping giant CMA CGM and China State Shipbuilding Corporation. Valued at 21 billion yuan, roughly $3.1 billion, the deal marked the largest shipbuilding order in China's history. These moves highlight France's growing interest in deeper economic ties with China, even at the risk of straining its traditional alliance with the United States. To understand why France is embracing yuan-dominated trade, it's essential to look at the broader relationship between the European Union and China. EU-China trade relations date back to 1975 and have since evolved into one of the world's most significant economic partnerships. By 2023, China was the EU's third largest export destination and its largest source of imports, with goods worth over 2.3 billion euros exchanged daily. Despite this, the relationship is marked by imbalances. The EU runs a significant trade deficit with China, nearly 400 billion euros in 2023, underscoring Europe's reliance on Chinese goods from machinery to consumer products. Economic ties haven't shielded the EU and China from disputes. In 2023, the EU launched an anti-subsidy investigation into Chinese electric vehicle imports, citing unfair competition due to state subsidies. China responded with anti-dumping investigation into European goods like pork and dairy. By November 2024, tensions escalated further when China filed a WTO complaint against the EU, accusing it of protectionism over EV tariffs. Despite these challenges, France has emerged to deepen its economic engagement with China, with trade between the two nations growing by 3.1% in 2023 alone. For France, adopting the yuan isn't just about expanding trade with China, it's about mitigating risks tied to the US dollar. The US dollar's dominance in global trade comes with strings attached. American sanctions, for instance, often leverage the dollar's central role, forcing companies and nations to comply or face severe consequences. By conducting transactions in yuan, French firms can bypass US financial systems, gaining greater autonomy and reducing vulnerabilities. China has long sought to internationalize the yuan and challenge the dollar's supremacy. France's willingness to engage in yuan-denominated trade aligns with this goal, offering both countries mutual benefits. For China, it strengthens the yuan's global standing. For France, it opens up favorable trade terms and opportunities in the world's second-largest economy. What's your take on this shift? Is France's embrace of yuan-denominated trade is a pragmatic decision, or could it signal a deeper realignment in global alliances? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. France's actions are part of a broader movement that could reshape global finance. By diversifying currency usage, countries can shield themselves from US monetary policies and sanctions. For Western nations like France, this marks a subtle but significant shift toward financial sovereignty. The dominance of the dollar, which accounts for roughly 58% of global reserves, is being challenged by alternative currencies. While the yuan's share remains small, its growing use in international trade suggests a gradual move toward a more multipolar financial system. De-dollarization isn't just about economics, it's about power. For nations like France, reducing dollar dependency signals a willingness to chart a more independent course in global affairs, potentially weakening the United States' grip on international institutions. Despite its potential, de-dollarization is no easy feat. The US dollar remains deeply entrenched in global finance, with over 50% of international reserves and trade still denominated in United States dollar. While France's actions are significant, they represent just one piece of a larger, slow-moving puzzle. Still, the involvement of Western nations like France adds momentum to a trend that was once confined to BRICS. As more countries explore alternatives, the global financial system could see profound changes in the decades to come. The growing trend of de-dollarization is no longer a niche movement. It's becoming a global phenomenon. France's engagement in yuan-denominated trade signals a willingness to rethink traditional financial norms, offering a glimpse into a future where the US dollar might no longer reign supreme. As these shifts unfold, the question isn't whether de-dollarization will happen, it's how far it will go. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell to stay informed about the changing dynamics of global economics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.